Hey everyone, my name's Caitlin and welcome back to my channel, or welcome if it's your first time here. Today I am excited to be doing the Girl Scout cookie book tag. I was tagged to do this by the fantastic Lucy over at the Lucy Chronicles. If you're not subscribed to her, you should be, because she is wonderful and so sweet. So thank you so much, Lucy, for tagging me. And yeah, I'm excited to get into this tag and answer these questions. I can't remember who the original creator is of this tag, but I will tag her below and find her original video for this tag and leave it in the description so that you can go check that out. Okay, so these prompts are all drawn from different types of Girl Scout cookies. Now, I have never eaten a ton of Girl Scout cookies. I think Thin Mints are the only ones that I have eaten, and yeah, it's just, I don't really get Girl Scout cookies, so I haven't eaten most of these. So yeah, so let's jump into the tag. Okay, so question one is Trefoils, or Trefoils, however you pronounce that. A classic novel you love. Okay, I am going with Northanger Abbey by Jane Austen. This is my favorite Jane Austen that I've read. I still have two of her novels that I have not read yet, Mansfield Park and Persuasion. But yeah, this is my favorite. It is just, it's hilarious. I love it so much, and I love Mr. Tilney. I do. He is just, he's fantastic. He seriously is. I mean, I love Mr. Darcy, don't get me wrong, but Mr. Tilney is my guy. Just love him. If you haven't read this, you need to. And look at how short it is. And it's Jane Austen July, so it's the perfect time. Yeah, it's fantastic. Okay, question two, or prompt two, is Lemon Ups, an inspiring book. Okay. So many, but I am going to go with All That It Takes by Nicole Deese. This is the second in a duology. The first one is All That Really Matters. And they both are very inspiring and greatly impacted me. But I went with this one because I was really deeply touched by Val and Miles' individual faith journeys in this book. This book touches a lot on teaching you how to realize that you don't necessarily need to go far from home to be used by God, that God can and will use you if you have a willing heart. He will use you right where you are. And it also presents the concept that we are supposed to be in certain places at certain times that God has been preparing. And I'm not explaining it well, but she presents it in such a beautiful way that there are moments of our lives that our entire lives have basically been building to that moment. And we are in the position we're in, we're in the physical location we're in, surrounded by the people that we are, for a purpose. And this book portrays that beautifully, and I just love it so much. Okay, the third prompt is S'mores, a comforting book. So for that, I am going with Cole and Laila Are Just Friends, a love story by Bethany Turner. You heard me talk about this in my Beaches and Books readathon video. If you haven't watched that, yeah, it's there, and I definitely talked about that in that one because I love this book to pieces. I love it with my whole heart. It just came out in June, but I actually read it last November because Bethany is a dear friend of mine, and she gave me the opportunity to read an early copy of it. And I was going through a really tough time in life at the time that I read it, and this book was just a breath of fresh air. It was just a ray of sunshine and so comforting to me, and just, it made me smile and it made me laugh when I desperately needed to. And yeah, it's just, it's like a big, this book is like a big hug. It really is. And it's so funny and so just delightful. I love it so much. Okay. Prompt 4 is Adventurefuls, an adventurous book. Okay, so for that, I am going with Count Me In by Mikal Dawn. So this one has a lot of adventure in it. because Allegra is, she lives a very careful life, and she's very much a bit of a control freak and worried about everything. Well, she's an accountant, if I remember correctly, and her company gets shut down out of nowhere that she's not expecting. So she gets a job working for this guy named Tyler Hawk, who runs he's a former football player, and he runs a extreme outdoors adventures company. And so she ends up getting a job interview for his company, and he agrees to hire her, but only if she agrees to go on every adventure that they offer. So yeah, it's very fun. There's a ton of adventure in it. It's sweet, it's romantic, it's funny, and there's a great faith story as well. Okay, and then question 5 is Samoas, a book that blends 2 or more genres. Okay, so for that one, I went with The Road Before Us by Janine Rosche. I recently read this book, and I just absolutely loved it so much. It's Christian fiction, it's women's fiction, so that's a genre. There's also romance in it, and there is a historical storyline and a contemporary storyline as well. So yeah, it definitely blends multiple genres, and I also thought it was fitting for this prompt because Bridger, the hero in the contemporary storyline, is originally from Samoa. So yeah, I thought it fit for that. So okay, and then question 6 is Do-si-dos. Either a book you love that everyone seems to hate, or a book you hate that everyone seems to love. Now, I really kind of struggled with this one for a couple reasons. One, because I don't like the word hate in this context, so I'm probably going to use dislike instead. But yeah, I just kind of struggled to come up with a book. So the closest one that I could come up with is, I'm going to do the former answer, and that is a book I love that everyone else seems to hate, and that is The Shack by William Paul Young. And I know this book is very controversial. I get it, and so I understand if it's not for you. I totally get that. But I love this book. I really do. I love this book so much. It had a profound impact on me on my walk with the Lord. It taught me so much about forgiveness, really kind of changed the way I looked at forgiveness in a time in my life. When I read it, I was at a time in my life where I, was kind of struggling with unforgiveness for something that had happened in a part of my life, and something that I needed to forgive. But this one definitely opened up my eyes to what forgiveness looks like, and also to the way God loves us in a whole new way. And yes, it is, look up trigger warnings for it, and, do your homework, and if it's not for you, that's totally cool. But I really, really love this book. I really do. For me, it was incredibly powerful, and yeah, it was greatly impacted. Okay, and then prompt 7 is Thin Mints, one of your all-time favorite books. Okay, so for this one, I'm going to talk about The Secret Life of Sarah Hollenbeck by Bethany Turner. Every book I have talked about today, and pretty much every book I talk about on my channel, is an all-time favorite, but this is pretty much the first one that comes to mind whenever I go to recommend a book to somebody or think about doing a recommendations video or anything. I just love this book so much. I don't even have words to describe how much I love this book. It just, yeah, it's just so special to me. So if you don't know what this is about a woman named Sarah Hollenbeck who gets divorced when her husband cheats on her, and then she is trying to figure out who she is, because she no longer has what she had made her life to be, which was her life as her husband's, as wife to her husband, and her life revolved around him, and so she lost sight of who she is. And so she goes on an adventure, and she winds up writing steamy romance novels. And then some time goes by, and she winds up making this dear friend named Piper who leads her to Jesus, and Sarah gives her life to Jesus and then has to deal with the ramifications of, okay, what do I do now? Because now I see that it was not appropriate for me to have written these novels, but they are out there now and I can't take that back. So how do I move forward with this? And you know, as now being a Christian, how does she move forward with this? And what does she do? Because she has another book on her contract. So obviously she cannot, you know, write the same things she had been writing. So how is she going to navigate that? What is she going to do? And by the way, she falls in love with her new pastor at this church that she has started going to. So it's just fantastic. It truly is. It's funny. It's heartwarming. It's got such a lovely romance in it. It truly does. And it's got real talk about issues that sometimes the church tries not to talk about, but are conversations that need to be had. And this book just tackles all of that brilliantly and is super fun to read as well. So yeah, it will always be one of my all-time favorite books, top recommendation that I will always recommend if somebody asks me for one. And yeah, and it's, yeah, always have a special place in my heart. Okay, so then question 8 is Tagalongs, tag some fellow booktubers. So I'm not going to tag anyone because I know this has been going around. I know most of the people that I know on BookTube have done it, so I don't know who has and who hasn't, so I'm not going to tag anybody. But if you are watching this and you haven't done it, you're looking for a video idea, absolutely, I tag you. Consider yourself tagged. Let me know if you do this because I would love to come and watch your video. Yeah, so I think that's everything. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!